Thank you for participating in NHMRC's Project Grants peer review process for 2017, and welcome to the first of two briefing webinars which will guide you through the various stages of peer review. Before we start, I want to thank you for the incredibly important contribution you'll be making over the next few months. It's a lot of work and it will take you away from your own research and other activities. I hope it helps to know how much NHMRC and the thousands of grant applicants around the country rely on and appreciate the effort that GRP members make to assess applications carefully and fairly. There are 5 main points I'd like to draw out this year. First, a key role for you is to provide an assessment and scores for each application assigned to you using the category descriptors as a guide. In your assessment, it's particularly important that you only ask questions that are critical to your understanding of the application. Ask succinct questions, as applicants are responding to up to 4 assessors' reports. We understand the introduction of reports from the second spokesperson has increased panel members' workloads. However, last year's feedback from applicants and many GRP members was positive about this change, so we'll continue it this year, but also continue to monitor the impact on you and the sector. It's very important to complete spokesperson reports on time. Delays in releasing assessor reports or provision of incomplete spokesperson reports will mean any application that would otherwise be ruled as not for further consideration, NFFC, will have to progress to the grant review panel, which of course increases the overall panel burden. When assessing each research proposal, for scientific quality, it's advisable to focus on the major strengths and weaknesses of the research design. The proposed research plan should ensure the research is robust, reproducible and unbiased. Consider the contribution of associate investigators when addressing the feasibility of the research. For significance and/or innovation of the research proposal, you don't need to rate highly on both to give a high score overall. And finally, when assessing team quality and capability, it's important that the team as a whole be considered. We encourage the inclusion of early and mid-career researchers as part of the CI team. Please also pay attention to career disruptions and relative to opportunity considerations. Your assessment should include the likelihood of the team achieving the intended research outcomes and whether they have the skills required to complete the research. Consider the broad range of the team's research achievements and not only their publications. NHMRC is committed to ensuring that knowledge from health and medical research is translated from the research sector to industry in all its forms, including through commercialisation and improvements to health service delivery. So please recognise the value of this when assessing industry-related expertise, experience and achievements, and note that work with industry may have limited the applicant's opportunity to produce more traditional research outputs. And of course, as with any peer review process, you must keep everything confidential at all times. Once again, thank you for undertaking the role of GRP member for this Project Grants round. Your GRP Secretariat will be your primary point of contact. If you have any questions at any stage in the process, please don't hesitate to contact them.
The Project Grant Scheme is the National Health and Medical Research Council's largest annual research funding program. Each year, to enable the highest quality scientific applications to be funded, expert peers assess each application as part of the grant review panel process. Over 6 weeks, usually from August to mid-September, these peers, who are members of the research community, will gather to assess the most competitive applications that have progressed through the peer review process. This will involve up to 40 panels, each with between 9 to 16 panel members. Panels will meet for approximately a week to assess around 60 applications each after the not for further consideration process. After applications have been received in March, NHMRC's Assigners Academy members begin their task of identifying 2 expert external assessors to provide independent assessor reports for each application. Meanwhile, panel members receive their allocation of applications adjusted for conflicts of interest. A primary and secondary spokesperson will have been selected for each application. Their role is to assess the applications, write a report, and score them across 3 criteria: scientific quality, weighted 50%, significance of the expected outcomes and/or innovation of the concept, weighted 25%, and team quality and capability, relative to opportunity, weighted 25%. Each panellist will have been asked to act as a primary spokesperson for around 10 applications, and as secondary spokesperson for a further 10. When reviewing applications with career disruptions, panellists take into consideration that career disruption, including pregnancy, major illness, and carer responsibilities, can have long-lasting impacts on a researcher's career progression. These types of disruptions may not only impact negatively on publication rates, but can severely diminish opportunities, such as the ability to present at conferences, or to establish an international reputation or apply for funding. It can also make it difficult to obtain preliminary data for grants, or take on new students. Panel members need to consider the impact of a career disruption when scoring applications, and should familiarise themselves with the instructions on career disruption that are provided on the NHMRC website. Applicants receive their assessor reports and are invited to provide written responses to these reports. The rebuttal process. The primary and secondary spokespersons then review the assessor's reports and the applicant's rebuttal before rescoring the applications. With so many applications for each panel to review, early removal of the lowest scoring bottom half, and thus the least competitive applications, will make this task a little easier and allow panellists to focus on the most competitive applications. A list of applications is compiled by the NHMRC based on spokesperson scores, and these are now considered not for further consideration, or NFFC. Prior to the meeting, each panellist is provided the list after conflicts of interest are considered. Each panellist has the opportunity to rescue one application from the NFFC list prior to the meeting. Any rescued applications will be assessed in full by the GRP. Once the NFFC process is complete, NHMRC's GRP Secretariat will provide panel members with a list of applications progressing to the GRP meeting. Panel members will be provided a minimum of 2 weeks GRP preparation time in order to familiarise themselves with all applications progressing to full peer review. Further information on how to prepare for the GRP and what to expect at the meeting will be provided in the second webinar, released at the conclusion of the NFFC process.